All right, welcome everyone. Paul Wright here. Welcome to this special presentation, how to put $153 billion worth of secrets of Walt Disney to work in your health business. And to join me today, I've tracked down my AL champion, Vance Morris from USA. Vance, thanks for being part of the program.
I appreciate it, Paul. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
I love the Disney background, Vance. That's very high tech.
Actually, I'm sitting in front of the Magic Kingdom at sunrise.
I'm sure you are. I'll do the formal introduction to Vance, and then we'll get into the actual presentation. Now, Vance, he's a 10-year Disney Resort Management alumni. He reveals the secrets behind the Disney service culture and processes using his method and technique he calls systematic magic, which I love. It's such a great term. Now, Vance started his career at Disney on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club Resorts. He progressed through the management ranks as nightclub manager at Pleasure Island, service trainer aboard the Empress Lily, and on the revitalisation team of the Contemporary Resort in the mid-1990s. It was at the Contemporary where Vance undertook his crowning achievement. He was involved in designing, opening and operating Chef Mickey's, which is Disney's flagship character dining experience, which if you've ever done it is unbelievable. After leaving Disney, and we say, yes, people do leave Disney, but as they do. He utilised his skills to rescue or improve many of America's top companies and government agencies, including Legal Seafoods, Tyson. He was involved with NASA, Rainforest Cafe, who do know a bit about customer service, Compass Group, the Executive Office of the President of the United States, nonetheless, Smithsonian, Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, and for those interested in his interest in health, does a lot of work with Burlinson Orthodontics and Burlinson Seminars and has a lot of work in that profession. So he has a lot of experience in health practices. Tiring of corporate life, Vance opened his own bricks and mortar business back in 2007, which he's still operating today and uses it as the testing ground for his many customer service and loyalty building processes. So he's on the ground in businesses just like we are. After meteoric growth of his own service business, other entrepreneurs began to seek Vance out, ask him how he did it, how to get great customer service, and that spawned his next business, which is Deliver Service Now, consulting and coaching company where they share how to create and implement Disney-style service and then apply direct response marketing from it. He's been recognised with the Glazer Kennedy Inner Circle Marketer of the Year. He leads customer service boot camps into Disney, where he personally takes people through and shows them the backs of Disney. So I'm absolutely stoked to have Vance with us today on this presentation. So Vance, mate, thanks for joining us. What a great opportunity for us to learn from you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And, I preface everything, because people always say, well, geez, what does Disney, which is a giant entertainment company, have to do with making hamburgers, running a physio practice, being a dentist or a carpet cleaner? And, I remind people constantly that you've got a ton of things that are very similar to Disney and that Disney has and you have. And I mean, you both have customers. You both have employees. Now, granted, Disney has 85,000 of them in one property, but you both still have employees. You may have cost pressures from vendors, economic factors from the economy around the world. So, I mean, yes, Disney has these on a grander scale, but they literally have the same problems and speed bumps and road bumps that we all do. So I say it like, as you mentioned, I still own my service business, which is a Oriental rug and carpet cleaning business. Not exactly a business held in high esteem, at least here in the States. We're right up there with plumbers and electricians and the guys that come and change the trash. But if I was able to Disneyfy the carpet cleaning world, trust me, anybody can use these principles, use these tactics to improve their business. So I'm really looking forward to this. This will be great for.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because I did an email recently that was the title of the email was what if Disney opened a health practice in your suburb? It was kind of the angle, and you think what would a Disney health practice look like? And you think, well, and I think the end of the email was, well, don't wait for them to open. Create your own Disney health practice now, and This is how you do it.
Yep, this will be the roadmap or the blueprint to creating a Disney-style health business, definitely.
Tremendous. Well, let's go through the Vance, how to put $153 billion worth of secrets of Walt Disney to work in your health business. And you're going to share a screen with us and take us through the exact secrets.
So, do you think that Disney is a successful business? I mean, in this short presentation, I'm going to share with you how to create and implement some Disney-style business practices that I think are going to vastly improve your customer service and your employee experience. So I think we all agree that Disney is a very, very successful business. And I titled it 153 billion ways, or $153 billion, because that is the current market value of the Walt Disney Company.
Wow.
Now, what if I could reveal to you how Disney creates that kind of money, that kind of ka-ching, and how you can apply it to your business? What would that be worth to you? Would that be worth, the next 15, 20 minutes listening to Paul and I? I think so.
You would have to think so, wouldn't you?
So, as Paul said, my name is Vance. I run a little company called Deliver Service Now here in the States, and we work with companies around the world implementing Disney-style service in their businesses, their practices. Really, anybody that deals with people can take from this. So, this is something that I like to call Disneyfying. I don't know if I've created the word. If you look it up, there is a really rather disgusting definition of it on the Urban Dictionary if you look online. So we're not using the Urban Dictionary definition. We're going to be using my definition, which is how to create and implement Disney-style business practices, or Disneyfying. And I'm going to show you how Disney extracts maximum dollars from their clients. And I'm going to show you how you can do it just like I did at Disney. And we have to agree, Disney is a master at extracting money from your wallet or your pocketbook. Now, these are business practices that you really don't see from the outside. Remember, Disney is an entertainment company, and they are putting on a show. So everything that you see is the result of the business practices that I'm going to talk about over the next few minutes. So you're not going to be able to walk down the Magic Kingdom and say, oh, look, there's how they do process improvement. It doesn't work that way. These are the things that you cannot see and that I'm going to reveal to you from my 10 years working for the Walt Disney Company.
And that's half the secret is events. We don't see them. You have to go in there. You have to go in there and look for them. How do they do that? How do they? And you were inside it. That's why I'm so intrigued by this, because you were in the back blocks when this was going on.
Right. Well, I mean, Disney is a very systems-oriented company, and they have a system that for everything. If you want to know how to change a tire on a bus, if you want to know how to create a feature-length film, if you want to serve somebody in a restaurant, they have a lockdown system for all of those things. And it's a documented system, which is extremely important. And I always encourage my clients, you get something working, document it, put it in writing, and then review it with the team on a fairly regular basis. And then work on it, tweak it. Disney calls it plussing. Walt Disney actually called it plussing, which is process improvement. So he's always trying to improve the show. The parks were designed to be living, breathing, ever changing, with the times. So there's a lot to processes and systems, but they are very, very basic at the base. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. Now, before I tell you some of these 153 billion reasons, it's really important that you know who I am and why you should listen to me. And Paul did a great job introducing me, but I'm just going to throw a couple more things out there. So here's my beautiful picture. So not only created this systematic magic blueprint that you can use to Disneyfy your practice or your business, but I also own a bricks and mortar business just like you do. And I mentioned that it's an oriental rug and carpet cleaning business. And I am a former Disney leader and Disney trainer. Spent a lot of time aboard the Empress Lily. Empress Lily is no longer there. That was the big steamship that was over by Pleasure Island. And named after Walt's wife, Lily. Also have my latest book, which is called Systematic Magic. So if you're just dying to get your hands on the system, this is a great overview, plenty of meat in there. And if you can't wait for the program to come out, then by all means, Amazon's got this. I think it's relative. So this is my shameless plug for my book. Sorry about that, Paul.
Brilliant. No, it's a brilliant book.
So customer service around the world just plain sucks. I mean, it really stinks. It has gone downhill. I mean, between phone trees and answering services and smarmy employees and lack of attention to detail, customer service in this day and age has really, really plummeted. And so in this, what they're calling the experience economy, people that are providing an incredible, memorable experience in their place of business are going to be the ones that will be far and above the folks that are just kind of sitting back on their haunches. And before you think that this is just a psychotic picture of me here, please look down and notice that I am holding on to Tinkerbell. I was very surprised that she showed up there. So some people think I'm looking a little psychotic. I'd like to just say I was surprised to see Tinkerbell.
I think I posted a version of that photo on LinkedIn, Vance, and I don't think Tinkerbell was in it.
Oh, dear.
I think it had the top bit.
Better edit that one. So I have really, I mean, I've made it my mission to dedicate myself to eradicate, get rid of this insidious decline in customer service. Because again, I've seen the power of providing an incredible experience and the profits that you can gain from this. So this is not just pie in the sky. Oh, it's nice to be nice to people, things like that. This has a bottom line effect for every business. And what's really important are some of the results that I've helped some of my clients achieve, and I'm just going to briefly introduce you to a couple. This is a dentist from Harlingen, Texas, and he went to my Disney boot camp in Orlando, and he said that he knew for a fact that this my dental practice will outsmart all other dental and non-dental competitors in my area just by implementing the Disney-style customer service. Ben Poswalk, who is a coach to other businesses, attended an event with me, and he really talks about how he was very impressed with how we systematize it, how we make a process out of all of the Disney things that we get to talk about. And then Paul mentioned earlier Dr. Dustin Burleson. He runs a orthodontic coaching business here in the States, and he's actually had me on. We've done a number of programs with him, so he's been a fantastic guy to work with. So
very sharp marketer, Dustin. He does some great stuff with his.
Oh yeah, I've interviewed him. Everything he touches turns into gold.
Yeah.
Seriously, it really does. So before we get too far, I mean, we don't have a way to do questions and answers with the folks watching this, but ask yourself, how many of you think you deliver great service? Just think to yourself, how many of you think you deliver great service? Well, 80% of companies say they give great service. Here's where the big disconnect happens. Only 8% of their clients, their consumers, think that they're giving great service. Wow. So there is a huge, large gap to overcome between the perceptions of the company and the perceptions of their clients. So really, decide on what metrics are critical in your business to measure customer satisfaction. Don't just go with your gut. Say, yeah, we give great customer service. You really need to measure these things. And when we preface doing a measurement or doing a customer service survey or any type of survey, be prepared to act on it. There's nothing worse than doing a survey, getting all this information from your patients, from your clients, and then not doing anything to either address some issues that might be there or recognizing some superstars. So if you're going to do a survey, you got to back it up with some action afterwards. So this is an alarming statistic. 78% of customers have bailed out, have not gone through with a transaction or not gone through with an intended purchase because of a poor customer service experience. 78%, just poof, gone. And you didn't even know that you had them because they left before they had a chance to make a purchase. Of course, we all know Scrooge McDuck, and he really talks about the cost of poor client service. So hopefully you would agree that there is a tremendous cost to customer service, and it is 6 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new client or a new patient than it is to keep an existing one. So think about that, 6 to 7 times more expensive to get a new one. So if you could just hold on to your current client base and then start to add to that new clients, you'd be a service powerhouse.
When we say, Vance, they bailed, for us it could be the patient might have had an appointment booked, but because over the phone the person wasn't that friendly, they don't attend, so they booked it and they cancel it.
Yep.
Or equally, the patient might have come for the first consult but then didn't want to come back, so they bailed then. So
yep.
And then they don't return after it because there's multiple drop-off points, isn't there, in the health business?
Oh, certainly. A lot of people will they'll pull up into the parking lot and look at your building and say, "Oof, I'm not walking in there." Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about how the atmosphere and the way you lay out your building or your office really plays into the customer experience. Yeah. And the top 2 reasons for losing customers, for customers bailing out on you, are that they feel poorly treated or you fail to solve a problem in a timely manner. Nothing worse than having a complaint just hang out there in the wind for days. So we've got all these Mickeys here on the screen. It takes 12 positive experiences to make up for 1 unresolved negative experience. So think about that for a second. Excuse me. Wow. If you have 1 bad experience in your office for a client, it's going to take, if they come back, it's going to take 12 positive ones to make up for that 1 negative one before they just forget about it and finally think, okay, that was just a one-off, that was just an exception, they really aren't like that. But it's going to take 12 experiences. Now, if you're a business where 12 experiences happens over 2 months, great, you're in great shape. But if your 12 experiences happen over a year or 2 years, the likelihood of them leaving is very high. So you want to make sure that you don't have unresolved negative experiences, that you take care of them when they are happening. Yep. Again, some more stats on the cost of poor customer service. Bad reviews, bad service reach more than twice as many people than praise for a good experience. So we all like to, bitch, moan, whine, and complain about, how we had dinner somewhere and it wasn't any good. But a lot of times we don't say anything positive about experiences just because maybe people, it's human nature, they just like to do that. So for every good experience, they're going to talk about a bad experience twice as much. So really, again, the cost of this is just astronomical. I don't know what your client acquisition costs are, but if they're anything like mine, losing one is a very painful thing.
I've got some clients at the moment. I mean, in health businesses, it sometimes that's up to $100, $50 to $100, even on Google ads or other things, to get a client come through, plus the time it takes to get them, and then you're losing them at the hurdle.
Right.
Wow.
So for every customer who bothers to complain, if you're running a shoddy operation, 26 others are going to remain silent. So not only do you have to worry about that one customer who's complaining, think about there may have been 20 some odd others that went through the same experience and aren't going to say anything. So you got to really think to yourself, all right, one complaint, is that the tip of the iceberg, or is that just an exception to how we run the office?
Yeah. Wow.
So if we monetize this, customer service, poor customer service, is costing businesses $75 billion a year. It's amazing. That's how much money is being lost around the world in poor customer service. The even worse thing is that this is up 13 billion since the last time they reported it. So the cost of poor customer, so 3 in 5, there's good news. I can give you some good news now. I would talk about the bad news. There is good news. 3 in 5 consumers will try a new brand or a new company for a better service experience. So that's good news. So if you're providing a great experience already or getting there, you've got a fighting chance that if somebody had a bad experience at another office, that they're going to come to you regardless. Also, so service has gotten this bad. 7 in 10 consumers said that they were willing to spend more money with companies that they believe provide excellent customer service. So they're willing to pay more. I mean, think about, American Express. You actually have to pay the credit card company a fee, not just interest, but a fee to use their card, to have the privilege of using their card. Disney is the most expensive theme park in the world. Nobody's coming close to them. And my carpet cleaning business is the most expensive carpet cleaning in my area. And we can have those prices, we can command those prices because we know that of this statistic that 7 in 10 consumers will change and are willing to spend more if they know they're going to get a great customer service experience.
And that's important, Vance, because you hear that, you might probably hear it from the health professionals. They're very money conscious. They're worried their patients are money conscious. And for them to hear that they can charge more and they won't lose clients by putting their prices up if they're doing this, it just opens the door to more profit. Definitely.
And really, and you're not adding any overhead. The processes that I'm going to talk about, a lot of them, there's no cost to them. This doesn't have to cost you money to have this Disney style business. You can really take everything that we're talking about and implement it in your business at little to no cost. And I'm talking like just going out and buying some paper. Might be the only expense you have so that you can document this stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive. So on average, the last slide here, loyal customers are worth up to 10 times as much as their first purchase. So think about it. If you can hold on to your clients for forever, if not longer. Is there a longer than forever? I'm not quite sure. At any rate, there is now. This is Disney. We can do anything we want. Customers they're going to be worth it. So if you only get them in for one appointment, then you might have covered your advertising cost, but you certainly haven't covered your office cost, your employee costs, your time. So you've got to take some time to, you need to have loyal customers so that your profitability goes up. The more loyal your customers, the more your profitability will go up because you're not really adding any type of overhead or anything to do this. So reason number 12, we're going to get to our 153 billion reasons that you should be Disneyfying your business. And reason number 12 is that Disney delivers what they advertise. And what do you think Disney advertises? What do they always talk about in their commercials, in their radio ads, in their print, in their TV? And it may not be what you think, but Disney delivers magical experiences. That's what they're known about. I mean, the princesses coming down the stairs, the characters greeting kids. I mean, it's magical. You go into their resorts and it is just, you're overwhelmed with the ambiance of the entire resort. So Disney's main thing is to provide a magical experience. Now, contrast that to a experience that I had at a hotel earlier this year. And it was my turn last week to host my mastermind meeting. And so I had my guys come in to Annapolis, Maryland, here in the States. And I thought we would go to this nice little swanky hotel in Annapolis, right up the street from our Naval Academy. Beautiful, right on the water. Boy, was I mistaken. So a couple of the things that happened. One of the things that happened while we were there, and this is not a cheap place. I mean, this was probably about $350 a night US dollars. So definitely an expensive place to go. So we were sitting out on the front porch, and we were having a couple of beers and a couple of cigars. And this beautiful front porch, but there was no place to put ashes, and there was no place to put our empty bottles. So we dismantled a trash can, and we just created our own ash can and place to put our bottles. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm just a booze and smoking fool, but we were hanging out, and this was after our meeting. And so this was the first night, and I took a picture of it the next morning. So overnight, nobody came out onto this deck, onto this porch, to tidy up. The housekeepers didn't come out. Certainly a supervisor didn't come through and check to make sure the housekeepers were doing their job. It just sat there. Now, if you think that's bad, okay, maybe they missed one trash can. So the second night that we had our meeting, we also had a couple of beers and a couple of smokes. And wouldn't you know it, we filled up another can. And this is the next morning. And the other can was still there. So we filled up 2 cans with trash and empty cans, and nobody cleaned any of it up. And this is a high-end, swanky resort. Unbelievable. Now, the worst part of it is that while we were on this patio, on this porch, we were watching the hotel employees bring people into the hotel. And the valet, this is the worst valet you have ever come across in your entire life. They drive up in a little golf cart, and they're supposed to get out and carry the bags for the guests that are staying at the hotel. Well, this particular valet drove up, got out of his cart, and started walking up the steps. And in his cart was a very well-dressed woman, obviously looked like she was going to a party or a wedding or something, and she had 2 suitcases in the back of the golf cart. That valet wasn't coming back for that. And the woman kind of looked up and said, I guess he's not coming back for my bags. I got to carry them myself. So she has to, in her nice evening dress, get her luggage out of the back of the thing, lug it up the stairs, and they get to the front door, and the valet says, well, you need your key to open the door. And the woman said, well, don't you have a master key to do this, to get in? Well, I don't know where I put it. Oh. So instead of taking the key from the woman, it's those, magnetic keys, the electronic ones, instead of just taking the guest's key and opening the door for her, he made her put her bags down, use her key to open the door, and then she had to prop the door open with her butt in order to pick up the 2 bags and walk inside. Is this happening in your business? Are you inspecting? Management was nowhere to be seen at this resort. And that is a failure of management. That is a failure of supervision. Can't always blame the hourly employees for it, because what we expect, we need to inspect. Kind of a corny saying, but still, it's there. So really bad experience. Now, to top it off, I'm not done yet. We're still doing something bad here. Just because you say something is doesn't mean that it is. And I'm going to show you what that means. And this next slide, take a look at this picture. And remember, we are at a swanky $350 a night resort. And they provided us with this plastic cup to drink out of in our rooms. And they went so far as to brand it as a luxury cup, the division of their hotel. This is not congruent. You can't have luxury and plastic in the same place. There's a lack of congruency. What they are advertising in this swanky hotel is not what they're delivering. So remember Disney. Disney advertised a magical experience, and 99% of the time they deliver on that. Yep. I don't think this company delivers 10% of the time. So do you have any plastic cups? Do you have anything that's not congruent with your message or your marketing that's in your business? So, and I travel with this plastic cup and I show it to everyone. So haha on the Remington Resort Company.
I think Vance, maybe we don't appreciate the impact of this. We don't know if you've got a health business out there and you're giving someone a drink of water out of a styrofoam cup, you think, oh, that's at least they're getting a drink of water. We're taking our clients for granted.
Yeah, certainly. And what's it cost to, have a nice cup, or just to even offer on a hot day, people coming into your office and your receptionist or the front office person is saying, wow, gosh, I know it's really hot. Welcome to the office. Let me get you a glass of water. Yeah. When was the last time? I haven't been to a doctor yet that has proactively offered me a glass of water. Now, I've asked for one and they pointed me to the cooler, but to proactively offer, that's huge. See, and that's one of those things that doesn't cost anything. Yeah. All you're doing is changing your script for when people come into your office.
And they're waiting in the waiting room after their appointment time. It's just getting with their plastic cup in their hand. It's not looking good for us, Vance.
No, not at all. Not at all. So anyway, yeah, this luxury cup, this just kills me. So we're going on to reason number 647, or what I like to say, everything speaks. So we know that cup spoke loud and clear. We know that those ash cans spoke loud and clear, and they were not giving a good message. So in Disney speak, they create an environment. And if you look at this is a post at the Magic Kingdom, and it is a replica of something that somebody would tie a horse up to in the Old West when there was no cars, so they would tie their horse to this horse post. This particular horse post is painted every single night to maintain its integrity and to maintain its show quality and how it looks every night. And they've got this down to such a science that they know what time, based on the weather and the humidity and everything is going on, they know what time they have to paint the post in order for the paint to be dry when the park opens the next morning. So that's a level of attention to detail that Disney has. Now, could a bean counter or an accountant or someone, financial guy, come in and say, hey, why don't we paint it every other night? Well, if they do that, then it's going to end up being, we can do it every 3 nights. And sooner or later, the post is getting painted once a month. It's got bird poop over it. It's completely scratched. So some things you just have to bite the bullet and work on creating your environment. So in Disney, there are what we have on stage and off stage. So on stage are all of the guest areas. And this is everything that you would see when you go to a Disney property or a park. You see the on-stage area, and this is where the entertainment is, the characters are, the rides, and everything. Disney also has an off-stage. Now remember, they talk in entertainment and movie talk or theatrical talk. So they have on-stage and off-stage. Off-stage is where all of the stuff happens to make the on-stage stuff work. So, off-stage or backstage, that's where they move the trash. That's where they set up the parades. That's where the food is prepared. People change their clothes, all in an off-stage area. Otherwise, if they did that on stage, it would certainly ruin kind of the magic of the Magic Kingdom. How do these things take place? So in your business, do you have a on-stage and an off-stage area? And is it designated to that? And do you tell your employees when you are on stage, you are performing my show. And here is how I want you to perform. And then when you get to the break room or you go to the bathroom, feel free to be as mopey and grumpy as you really want to. But when you come out of the bathroom or you're done your break, you're back on stage and you should be performing as I expect. On stage and off stage also can be a mental thing. So, you know, you don't want people to be on stage and then check out and then all of a sudden realize that they have off stage in their brain, like they're thinking about what I'm going to cook for dinner or, you know, what have you. You know, there's also a mental aspect to this on stage and off stage thing.
Interesting too, Vance. I have the impression of the health professional team member who's out the back having a cigarette out the back door while the person pulls up in their car for the next treatment.
Yeah, I never understood how health workers smoke. You'd think that they knew it was bad for you, but that's just something I think about. This is what keeps me up at night.
But that's classic on-off stage, isn't it? That's
yeah. Oh yeah, perfectly.
Yeah.
And so and you know, if you need to set up a smoking area for your unhealthy employees, then by all means create one. Something that maybe, you know, you put up a little fence or a credenza or something that will block people from seeing the employees smoking. You know, certainly I drive by a lot of businesses to and from my office and when I'm traveling around, and it's amazing the number of employees that are standing in front of the front door smoking. Like the people at the grocery store baffles me. They're just standing there right at the front door smoking. You know, obviously they really don't care about that thing. And it's also sending a very bad message because you're thinking in the back of your mind, well, did they wash their hands when they were done smoking? You know, that's, you got to wonder these things. So you want to make sure that you do have an off stage and an on stage place. And also realize that everything that you have going on in your environment is either enhancing or detracting from the overall experience that your client or patient is having. So no matter what you're doing, it's either going to enhance or detract. So do you have dust bunnies or, you know, dust on the plants? That would be something that is detracting. Do you have, you know, are you a rock and roll fanatic and you have pictures of AC/DC and Led Zeppelin in your office? That could be something that's enhancing the experience. And you can do this in a bunch of different ways. You can do it with your physical environment. You can do it with how you answer the phones. You know, I mean, that's your lifeline, that phone. And if the first impression on the phone is, I'm going to fit in, thank you for calling the doctor's office. Huh? What? You know, that's a turnoff. Yeah. Or we had this insurance agent that I worked with who was he was a big rock and roll fanatic. And at his agency, they answered the phone as, hey, thank you for calling Steve's Allstate. We are the agency that rocks. That's a different way to answer the phone. It's going to get people's attention. One, it's peppy. You can't actually say that and not sound like you're enjoying yourself. Yeah. But that answering the phone does a couple of things. One, it's going to attract the people that you want to come into your business. They're like, these people are cool. They're fun. They sound like they know what they're doing. And they're not a stick in the mud. It will also repel people that you don't want to do business with. They're like, I'm not going to do business with a rock and roll guy. Fine. That's what your marketing should be doing. Should be sifting and sorting through the patients or the clients that you want to work with.
I love the enhancing detracting scorecard. You've had the visions of someone in a health practice, and I know that the dentist is talking to his assistant about what they're going to do on the weekend and where they're going to go and party they're going to or something else. Like, is it enhancing or detracting? Is it about the patient? Is it about the client? Wow.
Well, let me tell you, backstage at Disney, I can tell you, employees, they complained about their bosses. They talked about the keg and beer party they had the night before. All of that gets talked about off stage. Like tonight, I was at the grocery store buying some stuff for dinner, and the register lady, all she did the entire time was complain about management asking her to work an extra half hour. And she was complaining to the lady working the register next to her. And there must have been 5 or 6 of us standing around. I'm like, what's this got to do with my artichokes? Can we, let's get it going here.
This business must be a curse for you, Vance. You must walk around. It's like a physio walk around looking at people how they walk, or the dentist look at their teeth. Like it's a curse.
I'll tell you. My wife and I. There are very few restaurants that we can actually go out and enjoy ourselves, because she knows how my mind thinks. Yeah. And we were at one restaurant, and this was a pretty high-end restaurant. It's going to be $200-300 after you have wine and dessert and everything. And there was a fork on the floor right next to our table. And there was a dark carpet, and this was a bright silver fork. The waiter stepped over it as he was serving us. The busboy stepped over it while he was serving us. And my wife, Gina, she could just see my face turning red. And finally, the manager walked by. And yes, you guessed it, he stepped over it. Oh, no. At this point, I'm apoplectic. I mean, the veins are bulging. And she's like, Vance, let's go pick up the fork so that we can have a nice dinner.
That's a nightmare.
And so you're absolutely right, but also doing this, you get to appreciate what people are doing to create a great experience. I mean, I've worked with a couple of dentists that are they are knocking people's socks off with just this environment thing. I mean, it's real, and the on-stage, off-stage. It's a game changer for a lot of people.
Yep.
And so again, finally, everything speaks. Everything in your environment is saying something about your business. And it's vitally important that that gets remembered. Oh, reason number, well, we're jumping up there. 5,325,000 to Disneyfy your business is to sell them something for free. And I'm gonna go over this pretty quickly. This is really an advanced tactic for customer service and for creating an experience. Now, as I mentioned before, Disney is a master at extricating money from your wallet. They can squeeze blood from a stone. They can get money from anybody. And what you see here on the screen are what they call magic bands. Now, if you haven't been to Disney in a while, they've got these bands that you wear, and this is your room key. So you just swipe it at the door, and the door opens. Your park tickets are on these little bands. You can buy food and you can buy merchandise with these little bands. And all you got to do is tag that Mickey to the register, and ding, you get your hot dog. Ding, you get your Mickey plush. And these come with your reservation. So these bands are free. This was not good enough for Disney. Not at all. They wanted to sell the bands. So this is how Disney sells something that is already free. So you need to put your clients or your patients and your prospects in the right setting for the sale. So Disney knows that people can just have a ho-hum little wristband, but this is only like 6 of like 2,000 different kinds of magic bands that you can customize, and they all cost money. Now, the one thing I'm not showing you is all of the little trinkets and doodads that you can attach to the magic band that you just purchased that you could have gotten for free. Yeah. Now let that sink in for a second. And actually, when I do my seminars and I work with my clients, we actually figure out ways that stuff that you are currently doing for free, you can plus it or you can enhance it and end up charging money for a better version of one of your free items.
So Vince, they can choose to get this free, or they are given the choice, or do they have to now buy it?
No, they're given the choice. So those just plain bands that I showed you earlier, those when you check into the hotel, or actually they actually mail these to your home before you come to the park. So you actually get this beautiful package in the mail with your band in it. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can't just have a plain band. I need to have Goofy on my band. Yeah. And brilliant. If you look at the screen, they've got a bride and groom band. Yeah. So those things probably cost $25-30. Yeah. That's something that they could have gotten for free, a plain gray or blue, but no, they sprung the extra $30. So even before they get to Disney, they're already spending money.
And I think what I'm picking up here, Vance, we fail to appreciate in business what people see value in. Disney have identified people see value in this band, and they're not worrying about the price. It adds to their experience, so money is not an issue. So what are
exactly.
we? Yeah, okay. We worry too much about the money.
So we're going to go on to the final reason, number 108,725,000. Well, hey, there's 153 billion, and I only have time to get through a few of them. And that is the magic of bringing it all together. As Paul and I mentioned, I worked and designed Chef Mickey's restaurant. I was on the opening team, and I was the leader in charge of Chef Mickey's. And our marching orders were to get Mickey Mouse through 400 seats in the restaurant in 43 minutes. That was the marching order. Now, why 400 seats? Well, that's how many seats there were in the restaurant. Why 43 minutes? Because that was the time a table for two would stay in our restaurant, was 43 minutes. So we knew if we could get through in 43 minutes, the tables of four and tables of six who dine longer, we were in great shape. So we had to come up with a system in order to do this and for it to be a positive experience for the guests. So, I mean, we can't just have Mickey, running to and fro. I mean, just tagging each table and going. I mean, it has to feel like an experience. Mm-hmm. So we worked with some of the employees from different departments. One of them was the entertainment department. And one of the things that always slowed Mickey down was the celebrations, birthday, bar mitzvah, wedding, divorce, whatever it was. Everybody wanted to stop and have a picture with Mickey. Well, now every 42 minutes, a special celebration song plays. And everybody gets up, they dance, they twirl their napkins, and then the characters continue on in their rotation. So this was our way of speeding up Mickey Mouse just a little bit. And there were a bunch of different ways, and we can talk about that maybe another time, that we were able to get the mouse through all of these people. Now, just a little tidbit for you. This is us in 1999, a couple of years after we opened the restaurant. In 1999, breakfast was $9.95, and dinner was about $20 American. At the time, this was a $15 million a year operation serving just breakfast and dinner. 15 million, one restaurant. Not too shabby. Well, just like Disney does, they raise their prices. Sometimes once a year, sometimes more than once a year. Now, in 2019, and this is one of the groups that I took to Disney a couple of years ago. This is Mike Crow, and these are all home inspectors, so they inspect your home before you bought it. Today, the price for breakfast is $38, wow, and dinner is $60. It is now a $57 million a year operation. One restaurant.
Wow.
So it's amazing. The numbers baffle you. Yeah. So that, put it in context with your business, that Disney is going to continue to have a fantastic experience in this one location, not just all of them, but in this one location, because this is a $57 million a year entertainment center in one location. So we multiply that by all the restaurants and attractions throughout the property, you see how we get to 153 billion. Translate that to your business. Are you willing to risk your $1 or $2 million a year or your $500,000 a year? Are you willing to risk that by providing a poor customer service experience? So, yeah. Paul, you've asked me to come to Sydney, and I'm really looking forward to that. And we've put together a program called The Ultimate Patient Experience, how to delight clients, create an irresistible team and culture, and make the competition irrelevant. And this is going to be a full day program. It's going to be a workshop. So it's not just sit there and listen to me chat around. You will actually be doing work and building your blueprint to Disneyfying your business using my process called systematic magic. And this is going to be an incredible day because I'm literally doing the same program that I do at Disney. I'm going to do for Paul in his conference area. So you're not missing out on anything except you won't get to see Mickey Mouse, and we won't be at Disney. But I do understand we're going to be at a beautiful Manly Beach resort. So even there's a good reason to join us. Paul and I have worked out he's really twisted my arm, but we got a really good special offer for you if you register for the November event before the end of October. So make sure you check this out, because after October 31st, the price is going back up. So we got a great offer. It's not the super early bird that we just ended, but still a fantastic price for the event that we're going to have there in Sydney. So it's a great opportunity to have a Disney expert come in who's used to working with healthcare companies and show you how that you can Disneyfy your business.
That's fantastic. I love when you lay out all this information on Disney, and I think when we first spoke about coming out to Australia, they thought, well, what do health businesses really like, and what do they need? They need to learn about customer service, and I suppose the concern they have is will this relate to my health business in Australia compared to what you've done in America with other health businesses? Or is there any difference?
None whatsoever. I mean, your health professionals serve patients. Same thing here in the States, and I would imagine worldwide. So no, I can't see any difference between a health office here in the U.S. and one in Australia. Definitely applicable.
And Disney principles apply, so it doesn't matter. We might think, well, we'll look at your presentation, we go, gee, it's okay for Disney to do that. It's like, because they're a multi-billion-dollar company, but we've got to get beyond that and think, well, how can we borrow from that? What can we use, as you saw with the dentist example?
Right. And you're not, the whole thing is not to copy what Disney is doing. It's to adapt the idea, the principle, and then implement it in your area, in your business. And going to get, at this event, we're going to go over a ton of different ways from we talked very little about the wow factor. We're really going to show you how to systematize your wow so that it happens every single time for every single patient that comes in the front door. Mm-hmm. It's going to be systemized. It's going to happen automatically. We're going to go over that on stage, off stage, and how do you set up an office so that it's inviting and really talks to your patients about who you are and what kind of service you're going to provide. So, this is not just a presentation. This is an actual workshop where we're going to be building all of these things. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a blueprint or a template to use. And I bring with me all of the templates and slides and forms that I used to use at Disney to do all of these things. So you're going to don't tell the Disney police because I'll get in trouble. So I've got copies of these things, and I'm going to provide them to you so that you can, again, not exactly copy them, but adapt them for your business.
And you're also going to share, because when we talked about putting this event on, we're really interested in how they recruit, how they train, all the other, because that's a big thing. How do you said the example in the presentation about the guy are we employing the wrong people? So we want to, you're going to tell us all about the whole employment structure and everything else?
Yeah, we're going to talk all about, I call it employee magic. And really that's the crux of it. If your employees are not, I don't want to say happy, but if your employees don't grasp this, it's not going to happen. So you have to give your employees a great experience. I mean, sure, Disney offers, healthcare. They have a dry cleaner on property and babysitters and everything. So again, Disney's got all that. How do you adapt these ideas to your business? Can you offer, do a trade with a gas station and do, free oil changes or something? I'm just thinking off the top of my head. So how do you take those things that Disney does for their employees and do it for yours? And then we'll also talk about how does Disney attract, how does Disney go through their application process? And then we're going to talk about Disney's training process as well. And you'll get the blueprint for how Disney trains their employees.
And it's not just for the owners either, Vance. We made this very clear. We want them to bring their teams along because you've got to have the team involved in this. So owners should bring their teams along to this event.
Oh, they certainly should. And honestly, and we didn't talk about a lot of the things that we'll talk in process that we're going to talk about at the event. Most of the good ideas at Disney come from the line level employees, the people that are doing that job day in and day out. They actually come up with a more stringent system or something a little bit higher level than maybe something that you would have thought of. So when the employees are given the opportunity to think, wow, how can I wow a customer? How can I wow a patient? They really come up with some neat things. So this is not something that's supposed to be driven solely by the owner or the doctor, but, you know, a collaborative effort. Now, of course, the doctor has to set the tone and you know, set the parameters, but then let your team come up with the different ways that you can do this. And it's definitely powerful. And I would suggest not sending your team and then the owner not come. Yeah. The owner has to, you know, really has to have a buy-in here. So yeah, I would recommend if the owner's coming, please bring your team. That'd be great.
It's important too, it comes from someone else, like, especially from someone with the experience that you've got. It's okay for the owner to say, let's do this. But when you say we've done it, this is what we did in Disney. This is what we did with the orthodontist. This is what we did with the dentist. It's going to have great traction. But I can't wait. My family's coming. Like everyone that I know is already registered. So I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. So if you're not already registered, healthbusinessprofits.com/patient experience. So it's healthbusinessprofits.com/patient experience. The early bird ends midnight, Thursday, 31st of October, Sydney time, if there's still seats available. It's a special deal if you want to bring an extra person along. It's at beautiful Manly Beach at the Novotel, so it's a beautiful spot in November. So you can't do any better than that. If you're out of Sydney, come down for the weekend, spend a day checking out Sydney and Manly. It's going to be beautiful. So ultimate patient experience. I can't wait to see you, Vance. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm looking forward to it, Paul.
It's beautiful.
It's going to be great. This is going to be a lot of fun.
So healthbusinessprofits.com/patient experience. Look forward to seeing you, Manly, on Saturday, November 16. It's going to be fantastic. See you all then.